Welcome to TV Glimpse. In this recap, Never Have I Ever, as Season 3 is set to premiere, let's take a look back on where we left everybody. Well, Season 1 begins with Devi, a teenage girl who is a first-generation Indian American. She is the child of an Indian American immigrants Nalini and Mohan. When Mohan dies suddenly, Devi's life is changed forever, and her already strained relationship with her mother is damaged further, as they both struggle with their grief. Devi also regularly visits her therapist, Dr. Ryan, to try and cope with the loss of her father. Also living in the house is Devi's perfect cousin, Kamala, who is very beautiful and completing her PhD in Caltech. Kamala is told that she will enter an arranged marriage, but she secretly enters a relationship with fellow student Steve. Throughout Season 1, Devi's internal thoughts are narrated by tennis great Joan McEnroe. Due to both her rage issues and also the fact that tennis and McEnroe was something that she and her father bonded over. After her father's death and being confined to a wheelchair for her freshman year after a psychological response, Devi becomes determined to have an exciting sophomore year. So Devi and her two best friends, Eleanor and Fabiola, try to rebrand themselves as popular kids now they are in sophomore year. Together, they work to reinvent themselves, with Devi striving to be with Ben, Paxton, Hal, Yoshida, who she has a crush on. She pleads with her best friends to get boyfriends, so that the group becomes cool, doing many things such as dressing rebellingly to impress her target. However, when she discovers that Eleanor has a boyfriend, she has a breakdown, throws her math textbook out the window and asks classmate Paxton if he would like to have sex with her, which surprisingly Paxton accepts. So Devi decides to leave orchestra practice early to go to Paxton's house after triggering memories of the concert at which her father died. However, she leaves when she does not feel ready to have sex. We also see Kamala meets with her secret boyfriend Steve and reluctantly breaks up with him due to her arranged marriage. After newfound confidence, Devi returns to Paxton's house to have sex until she runs into his sister and starts a conversation. Much to Paxton's irritation, he asks her to leave. A couple of days later, Paxton apologizes for getting mad at Devi. However, he says that having sex is probably not a good idea anymore. Devi, being the best of her class along with her nemesis Ben, she is delighted when Paxton asks her to be in his group, but then overhears him saying he asked her in order to achieve a good grade. Eleanor and Fabiola teams up with Ben and Eve, who Fabiola has a crush on. Fabiola then breaks up with her boyfriend and realizes she's a lesbian. She tries to talk to Eve, but she isn't ready to come out yet. Devi invites herself to a party and sees Paxton flirting with Zoe. In response, she gets drunk. While she's intoxicated, Devi sees a coyote at the party and thinking it is her dad, she talks to it. But shockingly, the coyote attacks her and Paxton takes her to the hospital. At the hospital, Paxton affirms that they are just friends. Nalini finds out that Devi got drunk. She gets so angry at both Paxton and Devi for being irresponsible and then grounds Devi from leaving the house. Eleanor, an aspiring actress, tells the group that her mom got a job on a cruise as an actress. But Paxton tells Eleanor that her mother Joyce served them in a restaurant. So Fabiola accompanies her there where they see Joyce. Shocked and hurt, Eleanor runs out. Devi joins Model UN to escape being locked at home and feels the lies that she and Paxton are sleeping together. So another girl on the bus overhears her and spreads the rumor. However, Paxton gets mad when he hears the rumor. In an episode where Ben is voiced over by Andy Samberg, we see how he is really lonely because his parents are not there for him. So after Ben sees Nalini about a pimple that has been growing, he starts having a small breakdown of his loneliness. So Nalini invites him to dinner with her and her family. Initially upset with Ben coming over, Devi is pleasantly surprised when he does not expose her bad behavior at Model UN. Devi tries to make it up to Eleanor and Fabiola. So Devi visits Joyce at work and encourages her to talk to Eleanor. When Joyce does this, they make up. Joyce decides to come over to school and watch Eleanor rehearse, but leaves midway through to return to Broadway after realizing acting is her true passion. Fabiola asks Devi to support Eleanor, but when Paxton texts Devi, she goes to his house instead to model for Paxton's sister, Rebecca. Devi loses sight of her friends as she pursues Paxton, with Fab and Eleanor taking a friendship break from Devi after she failed to be there for them when they needed her most. Things look up for Devi when she and Paxton share a kiss, one of the reasons she pulls away from her friends. Kamala's potential husband meets with her family over a lunch for the first time. Devi enters Kamala's room to place a present, only to find that Steve is in there, waiting to rescue Kamala from her arranged marriage. At Devi's behest, Kamala talks with Steve to sort things out, but Nalini walks in on them and reveals that she knew about the two as a couple. Meanwhile, Paxton arrives to return Devi's dress from the party and accidentally reveals that Devi secretly attended Ben's party and that she and Paxton kiss. Nalini, enraged, yells at Paxton for ruining Devi's life. Devi's uncle reveals that Nalini is planning on moving them both to India, so Devi gets in a fight with her mother and refuses to move. After falling out with her family, Devi moves in with an unexpected ally, Ben. So Ben, being a good friend, provides Devi with all she needs to stay away from home, giving her a room as Kamala brings her school supplies. Nalini visits Dr. Ryan and admits to her that she is finding the situation with her daughters really hard. She breaks down in Dr. Ryan's office, admitting that she understands why Devi is so upset. Dr. Ryan suggests she shows Devi this vulnerable side so she can understand what her mother is also going through. So, Nalini wants to reconnect with her daughter and goes to Ben's house to reach out to her. At first, Devi doesn't want to know, but Ben, with the help of Fab and Eleanor, convinces her it is the right thing to do, which also heals the wound between the group of friends. Eventually, with the help of her friends, she reaches out to her mom in Malibu as the two apologize to one another. As her friends encourage Devi to go to spread the ashes of her father, she encounters with a big issue. She has no means of transportation. So Ben takes her to Malibu. With the help of McEnroe, Devi arrives just in time before her mother spread Mohan's ashes. So Devi, Nalini and Kamala spread Mohan's ashes and she agrees to move back in with them. Afterward, Devi finds Ben still waiting in his car to make sure she's okay. Touched by this act of kindness, she kisses Ben and he reciprocates. While Ben and Devi kiss, we see how Paxton leaves her a message. This is just the beginning of this love triangle. So, season 2 begins with Ben and Devi in a full make-out session in his car, only to be discovered by a horrified Nalini. Even though their attraction is palpable, she decides to end things with Ben as Paxton suddenly shows interest in her. Before she knows it, she finds herself dating both of them simultaneously. Elsewhere, Kamala is learning to navigate what it's like to working in a man's world when she gets the opportunity to work for Dr. Elgin Peters. Unfortunately, her direct report is to his assistant, Evan, who is misogyny personified. After all the trouble Devi has been in, Nalini decides the best thing to do is to move her back to India, where Devi can be relieved of the pressure of American high school. However, with a quick trip to India, Nalini quickly changes her mind. Afterward, she invites Mohan's mother Nirmala to live with them in California when she discovers that Nirmala needs to be closer to Mohan's family as she too is still grieving. Soon after, in true Devi fashion, she manages to end up dating neither of them once the two guys discover what's really going on. Soon after, Devi jumps at the chance to tutor Paxton to spend more time with him and make him realize they should be together. Meanwhile, when a new Indian girl, Anissa, arrives, she finds herself feeling overly jealous of Anissa and Ben's instant connection, even as things start progressing with Paxton in a good direction. Devi spreads a vicious rumor about Anissa that causes Anissa's mother to step in and decide to transfer Anissa to a new school. Devi is forced to turn to Nalini for help in convincing Anissa's mother to keep her at school, once again proving that Nalini is not her enemy, but one of her best allies. After Paxton follows Devi's advice for an assignment, he gets a good grade and sneaks into her bedroom to make out with her. It proves to be quite confusing when he remains casual at school the morning after. Nalini begins to bond with a rival dermatologist, Dr. Chris Jackson. When Devi discovers their impending relationship, she attempts to sabotage it, driving a bigger wedge between Nalini and Devi than ever before. However, they are able to recover the relationship bonding once again over the grief of the loss of Mohan. Even posthumously, Mohan seems to be the only thing that continuously brings mother and daughter together. Eleanor is dating her new boyfriend, Malcolm, who nobody likes. Malcolm, a former Disney star, has enamored Eleanor to the point where she doesn't even believe Fab and Devi. when they tell her they know she has been cheated on numerous times. When Malcolm breaks it off, Eleanor has to really examine her priorities and reconnect with her father and her stepmom, as well as make up with her besties. Fab is going through her own journey trying to come to terms with her sexuality. She's insanely attracted to Eve, but is afraid of being judged by their relationship by her mother, by her friends, and by her classmates in general. It is only with Eleanor and Devi's help that she's able to accept who she is and proudly tell Eve she's in love with her. When Kamala discovers that her name was left off a research paper that she worked hard on, she decides to stand up for herself and add her name anyway. Eve and Fab are crowned cricket queen and queen at the school dance, and Fab relishes her newfound confidence in publicly acknowledging who she really is. Kamala is also going through the process of an arranged marriage with Prashant. Prashant seems like a decent enough catch, but it looks like Devi's teacher, Mr. Kulkarni, might present more potential for romance. She chooses to spend time with him instead of fulfilling her family dinner obligation in the season 2 finale. It looks like Devi isn't the only one in her family stuck in a love triangle. In the climax of season 2, it is once again Devi's moment to choose between Ben and Paxton. Ben, who is always the quickest to jump to her side to console her in the greatest moments of weakness, is devastated when Paxton shows up to proclaim himself to be Devi's boyfriend. Devi is elated, and once again Ben is cast aside. It seems like although he and Anissa have a bond, he is still hung up over Devi. Both Fab and Eleanor are all in on Team Paxton. However, in the finale, Eleanor sees how much Ben truly cares for Devi, that she takes it upon herself to apologize to Ben for not realizing it sooner and campaigning for Paxton the whole time. It doesn't seem like this love triangle is anywhere near over. I hope you all enjoyed season 3. Thanks for watching this recap. See you in the next.